we are talking about the apology reset call. I'm going to hand it over to my good friend Chris Cavazos to give us an intro to this.
Hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you all for coming on this call today. I commented in that Facebook group about this script, and I thought it was just going to be a couple people that would be interested or whatnot. And the feedback that I've gotten has been exponential, and I'm just so happy that we're able to contribute and give value to all you individuals that are be on this call today about these apology reset calls, a new way to think about reaching out to your database and reaching out to past people. So I'm just so happy that you're here. So my name's Chris Cavazos. I'm a loan officer in Sarasota, Florida. I've known Andrew Haddad, who's wonderful for a long time. I think we're going back on 8 years now. Andrew was actually my first performance coach when I got into the loan officer industry. There was a time when, the ups and downs and the peaks and valleys that we have in our industry, and I just couldn't take it. So I went to him and he helped me with my mindset. He helped me reprogram my way of thinking. And here we are now, 8 years later, I'm still doing loans and I love it. So I have much appreciation for this man. I love his wisdom and I think he's got a lot to offer. So about this call today, these apology reset calls, Andrew's going to do a really great job of explaining in detail the different variations of the thought process and how we should approach them. But one thing that I want to just share is, how this worked for me. So I did these apology reset calls. I've done them a lot, but most recently when I did them, I was going through my contact list on my phone, right, starting with the A's, and I was talking to not just clients but everybody, right? And so when we're going through this coaching today, I want you to think about, well, listen, this applies to anybody, right? This is applied to my friend, a coworker. It can apply to business partner, businesses, business owners, friends, family, everything, right? So we're going to touch on really database today, but when we get to the end, we'll have a little bit of a Q&A and just revisit this. But I just want you to think about, man, like this is going to be a call that I can make, and I could talk to anybody. I could, just apology reset with them, get my mind right, and continue moving forward. So thank you for that, Andrew. I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you so much.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. And dude, we've been friends for almost a decade. I think we can say a
Yeah, man. I
decade.
think decades. That's nice. I like
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
I love it, man. So yeah, everybody, thanks so much for being on this call. And so just a little background. So I've been in real estate for about 20 years. I'm I'm big into education. The quote I live by is your life will grow to the extent that you do. So I'm always, like learning more. I have a growth mindset and I encourage that for you as well. But like, I'll be honest with you, with these calls and with everything I'm coaching, it's not just about real estate, like Chris said. It is about being the best version of yourself in all aspects of your life. So the calls and the conversations, the powerful conversations that we're going to have today, it's just not about our clients and getting business and stuff like that. I'm going to give you a new way of looking at things, a new way of operating where we can utilize this to create the best versions of ourselves. And I don't know about you, but I love it when I'm contributing. Like, you ever done something really good for somebody and you have that feel good feeling afterward? Rhonda, raise your hand. You ever done something really good and like you have that feel good feeling, right? Afterward. Guys, that's what this call's about. That's what contribution is about in this world. And so when it comes to real estate, yes, we are dealing with a lot of complexities and stuff like that. My coaching niche in real estate is not just becoming successful in real estate, but when you're successful in real estate, you're successful on so many higher levels in all aspects of your world. So that's how I intertwine neurolinguistics, neuroscience. I've been coaching and educating for the past 15 years. I'm currently in my doctorate, my PhD program for psychology and counseling, and I do that not to become a clinical psychologist or anything like that. I do that because I recognize how important it is to contribute to other people's lives, and I love that. And there's so much happiness and fulfillment and all of that. So I definitely wanted to frame today's call is, this isn't another script. As a matter of fact, I don't even like scripts. This is I know, I hear you, Rhonda, right? It's not from the heart. I coach, I coach from the heart. and I coach from the brain. And when we can really interconnect those two, I always say, my coaching is the intersection between what it takes to do the job at a high level, but also the mindset, the communication. And guys, everything we're talking about right now is simply communication. So first, I want to go ahead and define. I'm sorry, I lost my throat a little bit this morning, so bear with me. I really want to define what an apology reset call is, because you're probably all wondering, like, what is an apology reset call? So let's go ahead, let's dive into that right now. Um, so an apology reset call, and I'll be the first one to raise my hand to say, hey, I am not perfect. I'm not perfect at a lot of things. Like, and follow up, I'm okay. But in 20 years of real estate, have I dropped the ball in regards to keep it in touch, the communication, after we've sold a transaction and now we're, it's a year later or 2 years later, have I done a great job with keeping in touch with my clientele? And I'm gonna tell you straight up, in 20 years, I haven't done a great job. And what's realistic is that in this industry, that follow-up and communication is one of the most important things ever out there. So I'm going to give you a couple statistics. So number one, 10%, 10% of our database will come from, with consistent follow-up, 10% of our database will have a need to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, or come across somebody that needs to buy, sell, invest in real estate. 10% of our database. So I do a program called, the wedding list. And if you've seen my courses and my book and stuff like that, I do a lot of coaching. If you have 100 people that you know, like, and trust, 10% of those will in the course of 12 months will either have a personal need to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, or know somebody, come across somebody that has a need to buy, sell in real estate, buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And so, believe it or not, like, I'm a economics major and I'm a numbers guy and all that kind of stuff. Believe it or not, the industry standard is 10%. That's what they say. The truth is that I got it down to a science that it's 13%. So what that means, in the course of 12 months, if you had 100 people that you know, like, and trust, and that knows, likes, and trusts you, you could, in the course of 1 year, have 13 transactions. 13 transactions, 13%. And I have the whole formula, so I'm not gonna get huge in the coaching right now, but I'm gonna tell you, these are real statistics that I've been working on, living on, I coach on, I have clients that have testimonials that do this. Here's what that means to you: 13 transactions at a price point, I would probably say a conservative price point of $350,000 times 13 is $126,000 at a 3% commission in gross commissioned income. Gross commissioned income. And let's say whatever brokerage you're with or whatever, let's just say the agent takes away, 75% of that. They have the co-broke fees, expenses, stuff like that. Let's say you take away 75%. That's $102,000. $102,000 of real net income into your business, strictly from touching base with your database. So the reason I'm saying this, and I'm going on this tangent right now, is because there is real power. There's real power from a standpoint of being able to connect with your clients for future and existing business, but there's real power in regards to building your business and really leveraging your business by making these calls. So again, apology call, and I'll be the first one to admit I'm not great at all this, but I will tell you right now, the majority of agents, what they struggle with is making the follow-up calls, keeping in touch with their clients, which is the most important aspect of their business. Would you agree? Any hands? Perfect. Thank you. And so the apology call is in the conversations, the powerful conversations we'll have right now, is in regards to being able to connect with them. And I'll use some examples, and I'm going to ask a couple of you to role play with me today. An apology call is literally is I sold them a house. It's been a year, maybe 2 years, and I just really haven't kept in touch with them. And we know that there's some apprehension into making that call because you already feel bad that you haven't kept in touch with them. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Yep. So anyway, so an apology call is simply something like this. Chris, can I have you role play with me?
Absolutely, sir.
Awesome. Ring, ring.
Hey, this is Chris.
Hey, Chris, Andrew Haddad. Hope you're doing great. Hey, listen, I helped you with that house in Village Walk about a year ago, and I apologize I haven't, reached out to you sooner, but I wanted to check in with you. I was thinking about you, and I wanted to see how things are going.
Andrew. Yeah, I remember you, Andrew. Yeah, things are
Yeah.
going well. What's going on with you?
Not much, man. Hey, listen, I was thinking about you, Chris, and we're doing a role play right now. But Chris, I just, what, I was thinking about you, and I wanted to check in. I feel bad that I haven't been reaching out more and seeing how the family is and the kids and the house. How's everything going?
Things are going pretty good, man. I mean, the kids are growing, and overall, I think my wife wants a new kitchen, but you know how that goes.
I got you, man. Hey, listen, I wanted to reach out to also just offer, real estate or non-real estate related, Chris. I have a ton of resources. I work with contractors every day. I work with different vendors and stuff. And if the wife's getting serious about redoing the kitchen stuff, I have some really great recommendations that I'm happy to send your way.
Oh, thanks, man. Hey, I've been watching the news. What's going on with this NAR thing?
Yeah, definitely, man. So, oh, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
No,
you
absolutely.
got it.
So the NAR thing, which I'm not going to do a tangent on the NAR thing right
No,
now,
no.
but I would absolutely, say, hey, absolutely. There's a lot of information on the NAR.
Just
Here's what I
questions
can.
that I would ask, right? That's what
Someone
you would
asked,
get.
and you know
Yeah.
what? On the spot, I'm going to answer that. So, Chris, I know there's a lot of media, there's a lot of hype about this NAR thing. By the way, I have a course coming out talking about handling the NAR situation, in the real estate world. But here's what I would say to that, Chris. Chris, in regards to the NAR thing, and I know you're keeping up with the news and everything, I want to give it to you straight from a practical standpoint. So number one, based on the NAR settlement, there were two big changes that has occurred in our industry. And again, it's in Florida, it's in other states, but it's not necessarily new to the industry. Number one is the commissions or the compensation that agents receive is no longer able to be posted on the MLS or our multiple listing service, which actually doesn't impact you as well because you have to be licensed, practicing, and an agent to be able to deal with, to look at that. So number one, it really doesn't impact you. Then number two is actually for buyers. So before where agents could, show a buyer, pop up and show a buyer a house here or there, they could just open the doors and show a house. So that's changed. And for the better, I can promise you, is that now if buyers want to go see a house, they would have to have a buyer representation form signed, which means that they are committing to an agent to work with them. And so, from a standpoint of our industry, nothing has changed in the big picture of it. But the truth is, there's going to be a lot more transparency, a lot more professionalism in this industry. So I'm happy you asked that.
Cool. Thanks, buddy.
Awesome. So I didn't want to go on the NAR tangent, but I know Chris played the role as the role play partner as a little standoffish and stuff like that. Let's do this one more time, and this is exactly how the calls are going to go. Chris, ring ring.
Hey, this is Chris.
Hey, Chris, Andrew Haddad. Hope you're doing great. I know it's been a long time. I worked with you last year on the house on Village Walk. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just keeping and getting settled and finishing things up. Yep.
That's awesome, man. How's the family doing?
Family's doing good. My kids in sixth grade. I think you had some kids too, right? How are your kids?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
both ours are the same age, so we're both in the sixth grade. So we're like officially in middle school.
Right.
Hey, question for another dad. How are you dealing with that?
Um, it's it's an adventure. It's definitely something fun, but I got a good kid. I mean, everybody's got a good kid, but I got a good kid.
That's awesome. Well, Chris, I just, hey, listen, man, I know it's been a year since we were texting and talking every day. I apologize. I want to keep in touch with you more. And as a matter of fact, I just real estate or non-real estate related, Chris, I just want you to know that I'm here for you. So if you ever need any resources, like a contractor or a new landscaper or a painter or a handyman, I'm in this business day in and day out. I have a lot of resources at my fingertips. I'm totally able to offer that if you want. So anything you need, you let me know.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'll resource you if I need something.
Awesome. I'm going to stop the role play right there. Guys, the apology call, and we're going to go into more of a coaching aspect of this, is not about us. It's about them. And so it's really reaching out and being able to connect with people because guess what? When you are at top of mind, that call I just had with Chris right now, if in the next week or the next month that he is talking to his neighbors, talking to his family, and if anything real estate related comes up, who do you think Chris is going to think about? He's going to think about us. He's going to think about the person he just talked to. And so I love to frame these calls that we are coming from contributions all day long without any expectation in anything in return. But the benefit is when you are contributing to people's lives, offering help, offering contributions, even being able to say, hey, I'm sorry, you're being vulnerable. Hey, I'm sorry, Chris. I should have done a better job keeping in touch with you. The truth is people are really attracted to vulnerability. They're really attracted to the effort and the contribution. They're gonna remember you. So I've always built my business over the past 20 years of being able to um I have a lot of big referral, past client business, stuff like that. And the reason it is because I care about people and they care about me and I can keep in touch with them. And here's the crazy statistic is the amount of money it takes to get a brand new lead is grossly more than the amount of money it takes to just stay in touch with their clients and get a customer, get a referral, a repeat business. It's insane. People spend a lot of money on the Zillows and the Redfins and all that kind of stuff to be able to like buy leads or get leads. But the truth is, the best leads in your business for this industry is client referrals, repeat business, double-sided deals. All of that is so powerful, and that's what I want to really to share with you. So how do you guys feel about that? I want to just kind of check in with you right now. Good? Awesome. Perfect. All right. Sounds good. So, hey, so let's get in. So, if we know, and let's just sum this up, if we know that our best business, the majority of our business can come from past clients, client referrals, just being top of mind to people. I always like to ask the question if we know that that is our best business, and I promise you, when you're working with people you know, like, and trust, it makes the business more fun. I always say, what holds us back from making those calls? I want to hear from you guys. What holds us back from making those calls? Checking in with people more often. Rhonda or Chris?
Not knowing what to say.
Not knowing what to say. Okay. What were you gonna say, Rhonda?
Okay, all right. So for me, I don't do it right away. and then the time just gets away and it lapses, and I haven't done it and I haven't done it, and then I feel more badly about not having done it. I procrastinate. I put it off and put it off, and then I feel really badly that I'm putting it off and still haven't done it. And I attended a class just a few weeks ago, and one of the things that came out of that class was call your database, call your database. And then yesterday or day before, your email wound up in my in my email, and it was like, right now I got to do this. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm here today. But I've been licensed since 1985. And I have never had a good job. I've never been good at following up with people. Now, let me take that back. I do have a magazine that they get in the mail every quarter. It's a very nice publication, and I think I've
Yep.
kind of that's been kind of been my crutch. But I still need to pick up the phone and call them, and I just don't do it.
Right. Right. So it's interesting. Like, look, you've been in the business since 1985. And, someone as professional as you and stuff like that, like we all struggle with this. So I always like to say with my coaching calls, this is a safe place. I struggle with it. Rhonda, like we all struggle with keeping in touch with people. I think that's just part of human nature. And guess what? So the top 5 things that are holding us back from making these calls and keeping in touch. I'll say number 1, Rhonda, you hit it on the nail. It's time. The longer time goes on, the harder it is. And I always like to say is what we resist persists, right? So like in the situation of like, hey, we had a closing, haven't called them, haven't really checked on. Like, believe it or not, like that just doesn't go away. Like we're like, oh, I should call them. I should call them. Oh, in our life, a year goes by, 18 months, 2 years, 5 years goes by. We haven't called them. What we resist persists. So the number one thing that's holding us back as human beings to be able to keep in, oh, sorry. Oh, Chris, sorry about that. The one thing that's holding us back is really it's time. The longer time goes on, would you agree, the harder it is to make those calls, to reach out because you feel bad. Number 2, the things that hold us back. The, the second thing I believe holds us back is our pride and our ego. Because the truth is, as a professional in our job of helping people with one of the biggest and most complex and life-changing moves of their life. And make no mistake, when real estate is involved, there is some sort of life change happening in people's lives. They're moving, they are, they're getting married, they're having kids, they're building their family, they're downsizing, they're relocating from work, like things are happening. And so from a standpoint, and I use myself as the example, if we haven't kept up with them and called them, we are a bit afraid that like our ego is going to be hurt, right? Like, oh man, I didn't do this. I should have done this, right? Like I know I need to do this. I know it's easy. I know it'll make worlds. I just want to check in with people, but we don't do that. So I believe the second thing that's holding us back from making these calls is our ego and our pride. So what I'm asking from all of you on this call is to literally leave the ego, leave the pride at the door. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about us. This is about them. It's about their life. Number 3, and Rhonda hit on this as well, is busyness. We get into busyness, right? I mean, that's our world. Real estate is a complex business, and that's just how it is. We get busy. There's a million things that we could be doing, but there's actually only 4 or 5 things we should be doing. What we should be doing is communicating with our clients, touching base with them, really just being top of mind with them. So busyness. Um, the fourth thing in regards to the things that are holding us back is number 1 is the lack of systems. If we don't have a system in place that is able to remind us to make these calls, if we're just going to rely on our own human nature to remember that, hey, I had a closing a month ago, it's probably time I should call somebody. If we don't have a system in place in our business, guess what? It's going to hold us back from being consistent. And I say there's two magic blue pills in this business. To be successful in real estate, there are two magic blue pills. And a lot of coaches will say, there's no magic blue pill. There's, here are the two things. Number one, it's going to be systems and it's going to be consistency. When you are consistent at something, especially in real estate, you're always going to remain top of mind for your clients, for your clientele, which is super important. Last but not least, I would say that a big thing that's holding us back is accountability. And someone that's been in the business, what are you, 40 years in the business, Rhonda, 41 years. I mean, I've been in the business for 20 years, is accountability. Real estate is just one of those businesses where we are business owners, we are entrepreneurs, we are in charge of our own business. And so if there isn't a whole lot of accountability in regards to how we're keeping up, how we're monitoring our business, that could hold us back. And so that's why having systems in place can really attribute to that. I want to open it up to the group right now. We talked about time, we talked about ego, we talked about busyness, lack of systems, we talked about accountability. What else is holding us back? What else is holding us back? If we know that these calls are probably, arguably, one of the most important things we can do on our business, why do we not do them? I love the silence. I'm going to give you one more, which is going to lead us into our next segment. It's our mindset. It's our mindset. And as a mindset coach, I want to share with you that from a standpoint of why we don't make these calls, knowing we were to gather the evidence, do the numbers, and know that hey, if I do this, if I do X, Y, and Z, it's going to produce this, cause and effect. It's going to be our mindset. So let's talk about mindset. And I always love to infuse some neuroscience into our coaching sessions and stuff like that. So let's talk about mindset. So from a standpoint of your typical agent, let's say your typical agent isn't great about following up. They've been in the business for a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, it doesn't matter. What is the mindset around the fact that we haven't necessarily followed up at the level that we want to? What emotions are present?
It's something that I haven't always had to do. I've remained busy. Okay. And I said several years ago when the market turned down, that the agents that were coming into the business at that point in time were going to be kick-ass agents later on because they had to develop skills that I didn't necessarily have, or that I had at one time and had gotten away from. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter, because I was busy, this transaction led to this transaction, and so on and so on, and now things are a little bit tougher, and those things aren't falling into place like they did at one point in my career.
Sure. Sure. No, that makes sense. I mean, being successful in real estate is not a given. It takes work, right? Whoever said it was easy in real estate and has been super successful? I can't name anybody. Like, I can't say like, hey, real estate's super easy. You might get lucky a couple times, but to really be consistent and build a successful business, it takes work. Right, Rhonda? Yes. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. So anyway, so I want to go ahead into the mindset. So the mindset around not making these calls, and there is no past, there's no future. Let's talk about the present right now. I want to frame this up. The mindset about not making these calls, it could be one of fear. It could be one of I'm ashamed. I haven't, I'm sorry I haven't done this. It could be one of just procrastination. Like, there's a lot of emotions that are unsettling. The way I like to picture the feeling of not following up with our clients is one of burden, or it's weight on your shoulders. Like, gosh, like I know I should be doing this, but I don't really do this. I know it's gonna be impactful, but I don't really do it. I should have called them. Like you guys have all had that feeling, right? Like I should have kept in touch with them more. From a real estate or non-real estate relationship, you've had friends in your life that have been impactful. And for those that haven't kept in touch with those, you have this feeling in your heart that's like, I really should have kept in touch with them more. It's heavy. It's a heavy emotion. It's a heavy feeling. So I want to, like, that's where we're at right now with people out there that aren't necessarily keeping in touch with their clients at a high level. I want to explore from a mindset standpoint what what's the effect if cause leads to effect, if calling somebody and touching base leads to an outcome, what is the feeling that we could have right afterward? Have you ever had that conversation with a client or a person, or you've reconnected with somebody? It could be a friend, like, hey, you've had a phone call and you're like, you get off that phone and you're like, oh my God, like, I forgot how awesome they were. Like, I miss talking to that person. Like, you have instant, what's the word I'm looking for? Gratification. Instant gratification. It's a feel good feeling. From an energy standpoint, remember, you can quote this is energy is never lost. It's only transferred or transformed. Whenever you're contributing or picking up the phone to call people and you're sending out some love. Hey, Paul, haven't talked to you forever, man. I just, I want to send you some love. I was thinking about you. I want to make sure you're okay. How's the family? Blah, blah, blah. Whenever you get off of that call, you have immediate gratification of, you know what? I feel good. Like Paul's a great guy. I want, I should have kept in touch with him more, stuff like that. So I want to explore what our minds, what our hearts, what our bodies experience after the effect of making these calls. Because we've already talked about what it can do for our business. But now, as a holistic coach, I want to talk about what it can do for you. So, does anybody want to chime in right now in regards to, like, have you give me an example? Like, have you had that call with somebody where it's like, oh man, it was so good connecting with them. Why haven't I connected with them more? Chris.
Yeah, when I made those apology reset calls, the last time I did them, I connected with, I forgot who she was, to be honest with you. Her name is Amy in my phone, and I didn't save my contacts that great. And so when I was talking to her, I was like, hey, Amy, just, I got you saved in my phone. I don't really remember who you are. I don't have a last name. I'm so sorry about that. But I'm just going through my phone book right now. And she was like, Chris, she's like, oh, you have that son. I met you and your son on the beach X day, and you connected me with this real estate agent down there. And oh my God, I'm a real estate agent up in New York. And it was like, boom, it was like an explosion. And,
Right.
I just took the time to just make the call and be vulnerable, like you said, Andrew. I
Yeah.
hopped on that call and just owned it. Like, I don't remember you. I'm sorry. You're in my phone. I'm going through my phone list, and it really was a great call. She sent me some leads. She does deals for Thurman Thomas. I don't know if you know who that is. He's a football player and stuff. So really,
Okay.
really cool. It was like a flavor explosion from it.
So before making the call, would you agree there's some apprehension? Like, oh, I don't know who this
Totally.
is, blah, blah. But after making the call, from a neurolinguistics and neuroscience standpoint, how did you feel as how did you feel? Like, did you walk off that call with your head down? Or did you walk off that call feeling empowered, like, man, I did something, I've contributed, I'm moving forward. You're like, things are this is the feeling I want. This is the flow I want.
Totally. When she it was a win, right? It was like, man, I rekindled a relationship. I overcame the fear of making the call, right? I made the
Yep.
call, right? So that was a win in itself. it went everything was great. You know, I got leads from it. Not that I got them immediately, right? But it was just such
Yep.
a good, powerful thing. And she was so excited to talk to me. And like, you know, again, I forgot but once you started talking about it, I remembered, right? Of course,
Yeah.
right? So this goes also on to say it's really important that you save your contacts correctly, you have your good database management and things like that. You leave notes, right?
Systems.
Because now, you know, when I fill my contacts out, I leave notes in the contact field at the very least every time, right?
Sure.
So I know where it came from and such. So it's progressed, but I've still got a lot more contacts in there that I need to go through because I've made a lot of these calls, but I got 1,000 contacts, so I haven't gotten through my entire contact list yet
Sure. Sure.
on my phone.
So there is an essence, and thank you, Chris. There's an essence of feeling empowered by making this. And the truth is, as human beings, from a neuroscience standpoint, you know, people say discipline and got to do this, you got to do that. Anything here's in busyness, right? We say busyness, Rhonda. People make time for things that are important to them. And that has a big influence on how we feel. So, like, as human beings, we typically do things that are going to give us some sort of benefit. So, what Chris just explained is that by making the calls, doing all that, it actually felt good. Like you get a hit of dopamine by contributing or doing something good for somebody else or checking something off your list. That's why I like people check things off their list. It feels good. They get that hit of dopamine. Consistency is absolutely parallel with feeling good, doing good things. And that's what I would love to connect on this apology reset call is that the more you contribute to others, the more that you're pouring out to them, the more that you can get off those calls and be like, man, you know, I forgot. I mean, Justina or Nisha. God, I forgot how awesome she was. I'm happy I've reached out to her. And on the other end of that, Nisha is feeling, wow, it's good to hear from Andrew. Yeah, I missed doing that deal with him last year and all the conversations that happened with that. It's a win-win situation on all levels. So again, we you know,
Hey,
we fall into our oh, I'm sorry. Paul?
Andrew, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Hey guys, Paul Bachman. I'm in the car. Sorry for the background noise, but just to chime in on that, if I may, at the end of the day, it all comes down to accountability, whether or not you've got the gumption to fall on the sword and just get moving forward because the game is between your ears and that 6 inches, your mind quits before your body. Motion creates emotion at the end of the day. So the psychological aspect of all this is the fact that we're all wired on caveman DNA. Every human has an angle. That being said, the dopamine rush that you're alluding to does come because at the end of the day, people treat you how they think about you. So if you just make the call, doesn't matter if it's 1, 2, 3 years, months, you're gonna get that rush and it's gonna hit the warm spot because we are all wired from an emotional perspective. Look at politics, look at this, look at that. Tell me why. Because you're always selling yourself of what you want going forward. It's something I can provide. I firmly believe you've got to give in order to receive in this life. So if you premise the phone call of falling on the sword, taking the accountability, you drop their guard, you warm them up, then you offer something based on what they tell you of what's going on in their life. So at the end of the day, it's all psychology, in my humble opinion.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Paul, awesome ad. Hey, Rhonda had put in the chat that you were breaking up. Rhonda, I wanted you said to repeat kind of what Paul said. I don't think I can say it as eloquently as he can, but the bottom line is that it is psychology. It is psychology. And at the end of the day, we need to take ownership. We need to be empowered. If it's our fault that we haven't made those calls, we have to be vulnerable. We have to put aside our ego and our pride to make those calls. And being vulnerable, believe it or not, from a human nature standpoint, you've probably all heard of Brene Brown and all of that. It's probably one of the most attractive things from a human to a human. If you can be vulnerable, guess what? You are now empowered. And we're always coaching people to be, again, the best version of themselves. And that is the empowered version of themselves, taking responsibility, like Paul said, and, just taking the responsibility. And then again, there's so many benefits on both sides of the street when we can come from that space. And the truth is I think holding space and creating space for others is extremely important. And if you can have the skill set to be able to create space for someone to share or hold space for your clients, it's one of the most powerful things. I did a coaching call yesterday, and it's all about, powerful questions and, being able to get into the level 3 listening. And the truth is with our clients, when we're able to create that space, and how do we do that? We ask questions. We care. All of that kind of stuff. Open-ended question. Let them share. It's a powerful thing. But like Paul said, is when we can take ownership of where we've haven't been great in the past. And I'm a positive guy. I don't want to get negative as far as, hey, where haven't we been the best version of ourselves? In this case, for this call, it could be follow-up. It could be those calls. But when we can take ownership of those calls, wow, there are so many benefits. And here's what I kind of want to leave you with before we open it up. I'll do a couple more scripts, but before we leave it, is when you are feeling good as a human, when you are contributing to other people's life, when you are coming from a place of contribution and service, it feels good. The question is, and I believe the real mission is how can we really dial it into that and make it consistent so that our lives are now a, a series of contributions? Because when we contribute, we feel good. And as easy as a 30-second call of saying, Rhonda or Nisha or Justana, hey, listen, I was thinking about you. That's my script. Like, that's what I say. And it's truth. If I'm calling them, I say, hey, Paul, I was thinking about you the other day. Hey, listen, I'm sorry I haven't kept in touch with you, but I hope you're doing good. I leave messages like that all the time now. People want to be validated. Like, it feels good when other people are thinking about you. Does it not? So being able to come from a place of contribution service, even if it takes 10 seconds or, a 15-second voicemail or a 30-second call, you're putting positive energy out in the world, and it comes back to you tenfold. But you have to come from a place of um, of good character. You have to come from a place of not wanting anything necessarily in return. You want to come from a heart space, and I believe that's so important. So it's 11:49. I want to be cautious of everyone's time and validate their time. Open it up if there's any questions.
I have a comment, Andrew, if you can hear me.
I can hear you perfect.
A lot of the guard dropping that I do from a reverse psychology perspective is not only at the initial visit with a client as you're building rapport and gaining their trust and actually earning the right to ask for their business after you gain their trust.
Right.
That's a whole nother podcast, if you will.
Sure.
Where was I going with this? Oh shit. Oh, I always remind them that not only are you the CEO throughout this whole transaction, but
Hmm.
I'm a conduit of information. I'm a plethora of resources. Look at me and view me as like the hub to this wagon wheel and all these spindles. I've got you covered. And if I don't know, I'm surrounded by the right people that can help execute and get you the answer. So you're not alone through this transition and through this transaction going forward. This is one of the largest transactions that you're going to make probably in your life. Once you understand more, not everybody's buying an airplane or an island out there. So this is an
Yep.
asset. It's a business decision. they're in total control going forward, and they are the puppeteer.
Yep. Yep. I love that, Paul. Man, you got incredible wisdom to share. We got to talk after this call. I love it. Thank you. But it is true. Like what Paul's saying is our value proposition, and again, that could be a whole nother podcast or our value proposition. But the truth is we are an advocate for our clients. We care about our clients. When people feel validated from a standpoint of, gosh, I know that Chris Cavazos has my back, it feels good. And the truth is I know Chris has my back. And to have people in your life like that is awesome. And so to kind of wrap up this call right here, the apology reset call is a simple way to reconnect with our clients, to take ownership where we haven't been great before, and to really just kind of dial back in our commitment to being there for them. Because we need more people in our life that have our back. Would you agree? Raise of hands. 100%, 1000%. So guys, I want to thank you for being part of this call. We are scratching the surface on a lot of different topics, but at the end of the day, I want you to feel confident. I want you to see the benefits and the importance of the intersection of psychology and what we do for a living. And I always say, we help people with one of the biggest transitions of their life. If real estate's involved, make no mistake, there's something else is deeper below the surface of moving, relocating, and we get to navigate that. We get to navigate that journey with our clients. And at the end of the day, we get to be part of their story. We get to be part of their story. And it's an amazing thing to be part of people's story in their life, because you're that important. Real estate is that important. And the truth is that's why I do this. I want to be part of people's story. I want to be part of their lives. And what Paul said before is, as far as setting expectations and navigating people, through that, I say this: real estate is a complex business. There's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of things that can happen. And I tell my clients up front, I say, hey, listen, real estate is not going to be a smooth path. There are going to be hurdles through that process. But no one is better to be able to navigate those hurdles at a professional level and really represent and advocate for their clients. That's what we do. That is the power of what we do in this industry. Guys, I want to thank you so much for being part of this. It is 11:54. I want to respect your time. And for any more information or anything like this, contact Chris Cavazos. He's amazing. He's always pouring in to people, and he is a growth-minded mastermind. Like, I love that he is someone that wants to pour into your life. Like, you want somebody like Chris to have your back. I do coaching like this all the time. I'm still very active in real estate. My coaching business that I've had for 15 years is First Agent Hub. And so I do a weekly coaching call every Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. Every Thursday from 12 to 1. So get involved, firstagenthub.com. And guys, just want to extend some love to you. Thank you so much. I hope you have a powerful day, a powerful week. And guess what? We got a 3-day week, right? A weekend. It's Memorial Day, right? Or Labor Day. I'm sorry, on Monday. So for us real estate agents, we might be working, but at the same time, guys, I want you to take care of yourself, be good, and just have a spectacular weekend. Nothing but love for you. I'll talk to you guys soon.